Hi there. Today we are going to do a quick little yoga flow for happy hips. So whether you spend a lot of the day on your feet, sitting or driving, you're likely sitting or moving in one position only. So we're going to kind of work through that, and it's something you can easily do when you've got a break from work. Maybe you're sitting on a call or before you head in for the day. Whatever it might be, it's a nice quick way just to kind of take a break and feel some goodness in your body. So let's go ahead and get started in a child's pose. Knees wide, big toes touch, arms forward. Rest in between your thighs, forehead down. If you need more support on your lower back, bring your knees together. Take a few long breaths here. See if you can feel not just your upper back, but also your middle back and lower back rise with the breath in and sink with the breath out. Trying to use all of that lung capacity. Get some fresh oxygenated blood all the way into those joints, especially the hips, which we're going to work a bit today. Let's say 2 more really long breaths here. Press into your palms, come up to a tabletop position. Spread the fingers wide. On your inhale, drop your belly, cow pose. Look up. Exhale, chin to chest, round your back, scoop your tailbone. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. A few more, maybe 3 more rounds. Sweep back with a neutral spine, and I'll have you lift your right leg or right knee up off the mat and start to draw some circles with that right knee. So how big can you make those circles? One direction here, and the other. Send your right leg all the way back, flex your foot, and then work your right foot all the way over to the left. Toes down, look over your left shoulder, try to find your right heel. Then squeeze your inner thighs together. Stay here or drop your right knee behind your left, and then sink your hips back. I even like to come down to the forearms here if you have the flexibility and it feels good. This really stretches through your outer hips. Lift the forearms up if they're down. Come back to your hands. Tuck your right toe so that knee is off the mat. And then we're going to lift the right leg up behind us and step outside of your right pinky finger. Now, once you get there, you might want to wiggle your left knee back and or your right knee a little forward. Both hands inside your right foot, melt your hip points down. And then think about cow pose a little bit. So arch your back, feel the shoulders tug back, sternum forward. And then work to straighten into your right leg like you're doing a half split. However, I know your right leg is a little bit out to the right. That's okay. Can you walk your hands a little to the right, framing that foot? You can always use 2 blocks here. Walk hands back through center. Bend your right knee. The toes are pointing out off the edge of your mat. Right hand to your right thigh for crooked monkey stretch. Melt your hip points forward. Now, if you'd like, you could bend your left knee. This is a big stretch, so reach back and catch your foot. If this starts to cramp up your left hamstring, just release it and come back to that regular crooked monkey with both hands inside or right hand to right thigh. We'll release the right hand to the mat if it's not already. Keep your right toes pointing out. Tuck your left toes and pick that knee up off the mat. Start to shift your weight forwards and backwards a little bit. Using a little momentum, step your left foot 1 or 2 times outside of your left pinky finger, and then start to drop your butt down to a yogi squat. Elbows press the knees away, thumbs meet your sternum, tuck your chin a bit, outer edges of the feet press down. Right elbow blocks your right thigh. Reach your right fingers in front of your right toes. Send your left arm to the sky. Really stamp through your left heel. Spread the collarbones apart, and maybe you look up at your left thumb. Hands back to heart. Left elbow blocks your left thigh. Fingers in front of your toes. Reach your right arm up. Stamp through your right heel. Spiral the chest towards the sky. Bring both hands back to heart center. Hands to the mat, lift your hips up and turn to point your toes forward. While you're here, have you grab opposite elbows or clasp your hands behind your head and find a little sway side to side. If your jaw's clenched, see if you can release it. Let's go for a twist. Right hand down, bend your right knee, stretch your left arm up to the sky. Stay here, half wrap, left arm behind the back. Peel the chest open to the left. And release, switch. Big bend left knee, right arm goes up. Stay here, half wrap, 3, 2, 1. Right hand down. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant your hands. Step back to a plank pose. With or without the knees, come all the way down onto your belly. Wiggle over to the right side of your mat. Stretch your left arm out to the left, palm down. Right hand under right shoulder, pick your right leg up, start to roll onto left hip, left shoulder. So this is definitely a shoulder stretch. However, you're also getting a stretch, as I especially feel this through the right leg, right here. A little bit in the lower back on the left. And the neat thing about the hips is that everything is interconnected. So actually a lot of lower back pain, knee pain, and ankle pain all stems from misalignment or tightness, overuse in the hips. So that's why kind of when we do a lot of these hip stretches, you'll probably notice a good sensation, whether it's during or after your practice, like relief of lower back pain, or at least a little bit lesser pain. Roll back onto your belly and we'll switch. Move over to the left side of your mat, stretch your right arm out to the right. Roll onto right hip, right shoulder, and step your left foot behind. Now, if you want less sensation in the shoulder, you can simply roll more back onto your belly. Just try to keep the left knee pointing up, and that will keep the stretch in the hips. Roll back onto your belly. Come back to the center of your mat. Inhale, roll up, cobra pose. Shoulders down your spine, sternum forward. Exhale, child's pose. Knees wide or knees together. Forehead to the mat, take a deep breath. And exhale. One more. Let it go. Inhale up, tabletop. Knees come in under hips. Lift your left knee up off the mat and then start to draw some big circles with the left leg. One direction. And the other direction. Send your left leg all the way back, flex your foot, and then bring your left leg over to the right. Look over your right shoulder, try to find your left heel. Squeeze the inner thighs. Stay here, or left knee down to the mat, and then sinking the hips back, maybe coming down to the forearms. You should feel this in your outer hips. Lift the forearms if they're down, come back onto your palms and send your left leg back. Then we're taking a big step outside of left pinky finger. Might want to wiggle your right knee back a little bit and or the left foot forward. Hands stay down, left toes point forward. Arch your back a little like cow pose. So just think maybe like a cobra or up dog in the chest. Squeeze left knee in towards your left armpit. And then shift your hips back, straighten your left leg, walk your hands over your left leg. So half split, kind of on a little bit of an angle. You're still aligning your torso over your left leg. Walk hands back through center, rebend your left knee. This time the toes are pointing out. Left hand to left thigh for crooked monkey, or if you'd like, you can reach back, catch your right foot for a little bit deeper stretch on that right hip flexor. Continue to melt the hips forward, gentle twist to the left. Let's all release the left hand down to the mat, tuck your right toes, pick your right knee up off the mat and start to shift your weight a little bit forwards and backwards. Next time you shift forward, take a big step outside your right pinky finger. Don't take your mat with you. And we'll drop down to a Yogi Squat. Maybe feeling a little bit more ease with round 2. Thumbs to sternum, knees away. Tuck your chin. Imagine someone is pulling the crown of your head up with a string. So your spine is getting super, super long. Great. Hands down, lift hips up. Toes point forward and feet are hips distance. So you're in a forward fold, hips distance with your feet. Catch your ankles from the front. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold, squeeze. Bring your elbows a little out to the sides. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Last one. Inhale, halfway lift. Plant your hands, step back with your left foot. Drop your left knee to the mat, low lunge. Reach both arms up. Melt your hips forward. Enjoy the stretch through the left hip flexor. If you want more, tuck your left toes and lean that left hip back over the knee a little bit. So you're kind of pressing the right heel into the mat. Great, both hands to the mat. Step your right knee back to meet your left. Untuck your toes and bring your arms up. Hands to your low back for a little modified camel. Move the hips, the glutes down and forward and puff up your chest. 3, 2, 1. Inhale up. Exhale, round to a cat pose. Hands down, dome your upper back. Tuck your toes, lift up to a downward facing dog. In your down dog, I'll have you bring your feet together. Walk your hands back just a few inches. Now, as you bend your knees, I want your knees to go out and your heels to lift up off the mat. So you're kind of driving your belly in between your thighs, pressing the knees away from each other. Should feel pretty good in the low back. Lift your tailbone up. Shift forward and step left foot up towards your left thumb. Drop your right knee, and we'll find a low lunge on the other side. Top of the right ankle presses down. And then maybe you tuck your right toes, shift back just a little bit. Almost like you're scooping your tailbone towards that left heel. Both hands to the mat. Step your left knee back to meet your right. Inhale, arms up. Hands to your low back for gentle camel. Nudge your hips forward, puff up your sternum, spread the collarbones apart. Take a deep breath in. Inhale, back up. Exhale, round cat pose, chin to chest. We'll cross the ankles and take a seat onto our heels, or cross the ankles and take a seat back behind our heels. And then I'm gonna have you come in. There's no really fancy transition for this. We're gonna take a frog pose. If you have a blanket, bolster, or pillow you'd like to use as a prop, you can grab that now. You're gonna face the long edge of your mat, bringing your knees out wide, almost like you'd go to a child's pose, but your feet are not together. You're gonna continue to walk the knees away from each other. Try to create 2 90-degree bends with your knees. The toes point out, and then from here, your bolster, blanket, anything can go underneath you to rest on because it can be a lot on the hips. I like to come down to the forearms if that's accessible. You can also come all the way down onto your belly if you are super flexible and open in your hips. And then the sensation or the motion we're going for here is like a scoop of the tailbone and pressing the tailbone back. So almost imagine sinking the tailbone back between the heels. The more your body gives into the stretch, the wider you can walk your knees away from each other. And then if at any point it becomes too much or there's pain, you can just walk your knees a little bit closer to each other. Slowly, the way to get out is to walk your hands back towards you. And I like to bring the feet in first. So like point the toes towards each other and then bring one knee in just a little bit at a time until eventually you can drop your hips to one side and extend both legs forward. Give your legs a little shake, or maybe you make 2 fists and kind of pound out the thighs if that feels good. From here, wiggle into your sitting bones, stretch both arms up, bend your knees, option to put your bolster blanket underneath, and then reach for your feet. Try to keep your back flat, so sternum going forward, little tuck of your chin. And then from there, if you have the belly resting on your thighs, you can go ahead and work to straighten your legs. But if you notice you're rounding a lot, just keep your knees bent and stay exactly right here, so you're getting the stretch on the lower back. We'll probably feel this in the hamstrings and calves regardless, so I want us to target the lower back. And we'll be here for 3, 2, 1. Slowly walk yourself back out. Scoot your butt forward and lay all the way down onto your back, bringing your knees into your chest. Keep your right leg in, extend your left leg, either all the way down or like a bridge pose. Bring the right knee a little out to the right, avoid the rib cage, and then cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Your left foot can stay on the mat, or you can hug your knees in towards you. Right knee goes away from you, right toes flexed, little tuck of your chin. Release that grip, slide your right knee more over your left, and then drop your knees to the left and gaze right. If you prefer to not cross at the knees and just bring the knees together for your twist, feel free. Melt the right shoulder to the mat, and think about sending the right hip point forward, maybe towards that left heel. This will help you twist a little bit more. Should feel pretty good in the lower back. Slowly bring those knees back through center, knees to chest, unwind them. Left leg stays in, extend your right leg all the way, or more of that bridge shape with the right leg. Left knee a little to the left, avoid the rib. And then left ankle over left thigh, figure 4. Right foot can stay on the mat or hug your legs towards you. Release that grip, slide your left knee more over your right, bump your knees to the, or hips left, and let the knees fall to the right. Again, you don't need to keep the knees crossed. Let your gaze go to the left. Slowly bring your knees back through center. Hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a nice big squeeze. And we'll take the bottoms of the feet together, knees out wide. 5 really long breaths here. Enjoying the openness you feel in your hips. Hopefully translating to a little bit more openness, maybe through your legs, your lower back. A little bit more ease. Slowly close your knees like a book. Hug knees to chest, and then rock your way up to a seat. Take a big stretch, arms overhead, find some length, and then bring both hands to your heart center. Take a moment of appreciation for the time you had to set aside and move in a way that feels good. Big breath in. Exhale. Open your eyes if they're closed. Thank you so much for tuning in and stretching out your hips with me today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening or morning, whatever it is by you. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Namaste.